Story 1. The Camping Disaster.
One summer, 3 friends, Mark, David, and Lisa, decided to go camping in the mountains. They were all excited because none of them had camped before. They thought it would be a wonderful adventure, sleeping under the stars, cooking over a fire, and telling stories at night. They packed everything into David's car: a huge tent, sleeping bags, food, drinks, even a small guitar. After a 3-hour drive, they finally arrived at a campsite near a quiet river. Lisa said happily,
"This place is perfect. Look at the river, the trees, the fresh air. It's just like the movies."
But when they started unpacking, the problems began. Mark tried to set up the tent. He looked at the instructions for 1 minute, then threw them aside.
"We don't need instructions. How hard can it be?" he said confidently.
30 minutes later, the tent looked more like a giant spaghetti monster. Poles were sticking out everywhere, the fabric was upside down, and the whole thing kept collapsing. David laughed so hard that he fell on the ground. Lisa rolled her eyes.
"So much for your confidence, Mark. Maybe next time, actually read the instructions."
Finally, after 1 hour of struggling, they managed to get the tent standing. Kind of. It leaned dangerously to the left, but at least it didn't fall. By evening, they were starving. Lisa said,
"Let's make a fire and cook some hot dogs."
"Sounds easy, right?" But none of them knew how to start a fire. Mark tried rubbing 2 sticks together. Nothing. David tried using a lighter, but the wind kept blowing it out. Lisa tried reading instructions from her phone, but there was no signal. After 40 minutes of frustration, Mark finally shouted,
Forget the fire. Let's just eat the hot dogs cold.
So the 3 friends sat around eating cold hot dogs in the dark, pretending it was a great adventure. Just when they were about to sleep, they heard strange noises outside the tent. Rustle, rustle, crunch, crunch. Lisa whispered nervously.
"What is that? A bear?"
Mark grabbed a flashlight and carefully opened the tent flap. He shined the light into the darkness and saw a family of raccoons happily eating all their food. The chips, the bread, even the marshmallows, they were gone. David screamed,
"Hey, that was my favorite chocolate!"
The raccoons didn't care. They just looked at him and kept chewing. After chasing the raccoons away, the friends tried to sleep. But at midnight, the wind grew stronger. Whoosh, whoosh. Suddenly, the badly built tent collapsed completely, covering everyone in fabric and poles. Lisa shouted,
I can't breathe. Get me out!"
Mark struggled to untangle himself. David just lay there laughing, saying,
"This is the worst camping trip ever, but also the funniest."
When the sun came up, the 3 friends looked like survivors of a disaster. Their tent was broken, their food was gone, and they were dirty, tired, and hungry. Lisa sighed.
"Next time, let's just stay in a hotel."
Mark nodded.
"With room service."
David smiled.
And Wi-Fi.
They all laughed, packed their things, and drove home, knowing that their first camping trip had been a complete failure, but also the best comedy show they had ever lived through.
Story 2. The Talking Parrot.
A man named George always wanted a pet that could talk. So one day, he went to the pet shop and bought a beautiful parrot. The shop owner told him,
"This parrot is very smart, but there's one thing: you must talk to it every day. If you don't, it will get creative."
George thought,
No problem. I love talking. This will be fun.
At home, George put the parrot in the living room. He said,
Hello, Polly.
The parrot replied.
"Hello, George."
George was amazed.
Wow, this is incredible. It's like having a little roommate.
For the next few days, George and the parrot talked nonstop. George told the parrot about his work, his friends, his favorite TV shows. The parrot copied everything.
Work, friends, TV shows.
But 1 week later, George got busy. He had extra work at the office, so he stopped talking to the parrot as much. For 2 days, the parrot was silent. On the 3rd day, George came home, tired. He dropped onto the sofa and sighed.
Finally, peace and quiet.
Suddenly, from the corner of the room, the parrot said in a deep, serious voice,
"Peace? You call this peace? I've been ignored for 3 days.
George almost fell off the sofa.
Wait, what? Did you just complain to me?
The parrot flapped its wings dramatically.
Yes, I'm bored. You promised conversation, George.
George laughed nervously.
Okay. I'll talk to you. Calm down.
But the parrot wasn't done.
Oh, now you want to talk? Where were you yesterday, huh? At the office again? With your boring spreadsheets?
George gasped.
Hey, don't insult my spreadsheets. They're very important.
The parrot squawked loudly.
Important? Huh. I've seen more excitement in the garbage bin.
George stood up.
Listen, you little feathered critic. You're supposed to repeat words, not roast me like a comedian.
The parrot tilted its head and said with perfect timing,
Feathered critic. I like that.
From that day on, George realized something. His parrot wasn't just a pet. It was basically his stand-up comedy partner. Every time George brought friends over, the parrot roasted him in front of everyone.
George snores at night. George can't cook pasta without burning it. George talks to his plants when he's lonely.
His friends laughed so hard that George started charging them tickets just to watch the parrot perform. One evening, George looked at the parrot and sighed.
You know what? You're the funniest roommate I've ever had.
The parrot puffed up its feathers proudly and replied,
And you're the most roastable human I've ever owned.
George froze.
Wait, did you just say you own me?
The parrot winked.
Of course. Now go make me a sandwich, George.
And from that day, George wasn't sure anymore. Was he the parrot's owner, or was the parrot actually his boss? Story 3. The gym disaster? There was a man named David who decided one New Year's Eve.
This year I will finally get fit.
So, on January 1st, full of motivation, David signed up for the gym. He bought brand new sports shoes, fancy workout clothes, even a shiny water bottle. He told himself,
Tomorrow, a new me begins.
When David arrived, the gym was full of super fit people lifting heavy weights. David felt a little nervous, but he said,
I can do this. Start small.
So he went to the treadmill. He pressed the button, but instead of slow walk, he accidentally hit maximum speed. The treadmill shot forward. David ran like a cartoon character, legs spinning wildly. Within 5 seconds, he flew off the treadmill and landed on a yoga mat. Everyone gasped. David stood up, pretending nothing happened. He said proudly,
Just warming up.
Next, David tried weightlifting. He saw a man easily lifting a huge barbell. David thought,
If he can do it, so can I.
He bent down, grabbed the barbell, and pulled with all his strength. The bar didn't move. Instead, David made the world's weirdest sound, something between a cow and a squeaky toy.
Moo-eep!
Everyone in the gym turned to look. A trainer rushed over and whispered,
Sir, that's not a barbell. That's the gym's decorative equipment. It's glued to the floor.
Embarrassed, David decided to try something calm, yoga. He walked into a yoga class and joined quietly. The instructor said,
Okay, everyone, let's do a downward dog.
David bent over, and his brand new pants made the loudest rip-pee sound in history. The room went silent. Then a little kid in the class shouted,
Mom, that man broke his butt.
The whole class burst out laughing. David turned bright red. At the end of the day, David crawled out of the gym, completely exhausted and humiliated. He thought,
Maybe fitness is not for me.
but when he got home, he saw a message on his phone. It was from the gym.
Congratulations, David. You've been voted funniest member of the month. Please come back for a free smoothie.
David sighed.
Well, at least I achieved something.
Funny story 4. The GPS disaster.
The beginning. Mark was a man who believed in technology more than anything else. If his phone said,
Turn left.
he turned left, and if his GPS said,
Walk straight.
he walked straight, even into a glass door once. One Saturday morning, Mark decided to drive to his friend's new house. He had never been there before, but he felt confident.
All I need is my GPS.
He said proudly. He typed in the address. The voice said,
Turn right in 300 meters.
and off he went. The strange route, At first, everything was fine. The GPS led him onto the highway, but after half an hour, it started giving strange instructions.
Turn left.
It said. Mark looked around,
Left? That's a small dirt road.
but he trusted the machine, so he turned. Soon, the nice paved road became bumpy gravel. Then the gravel became grass. Mark bounced in his seat as the GPS calmly said,
Continue straight for 5 kilometers.
Mark shouted at the screen,
Straight? There's no road. That's a cow.
but the GPS didn't care. It just repeated,
Continue straight.
the chaos. After 20 minutes, Mark found himself in the middle of a farm. Cows were staring at his car. Chickens were running across the path. One angry farmer came out yelling,
Hey, this is private land.
Mark panicked. He rolled down the window and shouted back.
Sorry, my GPS told me to come here.
The farmer raised an eyebrow.
Your GPS? Well, tell your GPS to buy some milk while it's here.
Mark quickly turned his car around while the chickens chased him like he was invading their territory. The river incident. He thought the worst was over, but then the GPS told him,
In 200 meters, cross the river.
Mark blinked,
Wait, cross the river? How?
and then he saw it. A small wooden bridge, old and broken, definitely not meant for cars. The GPS insisted.
Cross the bridge.
Mark shook his head,
Oh, no way. That bridge will collapse.
but at that moment, another car came from the opposite side. It drove slowly across the bridge and somehow made it. Mark sighed.
Okay. If they can do it, I can do it.
He drove onto the bridge. The wood creaked. The car shook. Halfway across, a plank snapped. Mark screamed,
I'm gonna die because of a robot voice.
but by some miracle, the car made it to the other side. Mark's hands were shaking, but the GPS cheerfully said,
Continue straight.
the twist. Finally, after 2 hours of stress, chickens, and near death, Mark arrived at his friend's house. He parked, got out, and proudly said,
See? Technology always works.
his friend looked confused.
Mark, why are you so late? The road to my house is super easy. Just take the main highway, then one right turn.
Mark froze.
One right turn?
His friend nodded.
Yeah, didn't you use Google Maps?
Mark turned pale.
Google Maps? No. I was using GPS 2005 edition. I found it on an old CD.
His friend burst out laughing.
Mark, your GPS is so old, it still thinks cows are traffic signs.
Mark sighed, looked back at his dusty car, and said,
Next time, I'm bringing a paper map.
Story 5. The Elevator Prank.
There was a man named Tom who worked in a tall office building. Every morning, he took the elevator to the 15th floor. But Tom had one problem. He was terribly impatient. If the elevator took more than 10 seconds to arrive, he would start complaining loudly.
Come on! I don't have all day!
Other office workers laughed at him. They said,
Tom, one day the elevator's going to talk back to you.
Tom just waved his hand.
Ha! If that happens, I'll quit my job immediately.
One morning, Tom pressed the elevator button as usual. The elevator arrived, and when the doors opened, he stepped in. Suddenly, a robotic voice said,
Good morning, Tom. Running late again?
Tom froze.
Wait, what? Elevators don't talk like that.
The elevator continued in a sassy tone.
Don't act surprised. I've been listening to you complain every day. Honestly, you're louder than my motor.
Tom's eyes widened.
You can hear me.
Of course. And by the way, the elevator added, your tie doesn't match your shirt today.
Tom stood in the corner, blushing.
This is impossible. I must be dreaming.
But the elevator wasn't done.
Oh, you're awake, trust me. And by the way, when you eat donuts in here, your crumbs get stuck in my buttons. Very rude.
Tom gasped.
You watch me?
The elevator beeped cheerfully.
Better than Netflix.
From that day on, every morning Ride turned into a comedy show. If Tom sighed, the elevator sighed louder. If Tom complained about being tired, the elevator replied,
Try carrying 20 people up 15 floors all day. Then talk to me about tired.
If Tom whistled, the elevator sang opera. Tom's co-workers started sneaking in just to watch the Tom vs. Elevator show. One Friday, Tom walked in with a big announcement. He said,
Elevator, guess what? I'm moving to another office. On the 3rd floor. No more rides with you.
The elevator went silent for a moment. Then, in the saddest voice, it said,
Who will I make fun of now?
Tom felt a little guilty. He patted the wall and said,
Don't worry, I'll visit sometimes.
The elevator perked up.
Bring donuts. And don't wear that ugly tie again.
From then on, Tom was known as the guy who made friends with the elevator. Some people thought he was crazy. Others thought it was the funniest thing ever. But Tom knew one thing for sure. His mornings were never boring again. And every time he walked past the lobby, the elevator doors opened automatically and said,
Hey, Tom, late again?